All right, everybody. What an annoying day. I don't know what's going on. I think we're dealing with Windows issues today. And because of that, the project isn't running. So I'm trying to clean up my PNPM directory and see what happens. But so there's a PNPM clear or clean. For the latest version. So we're on version 10 of PNPM. Let's take a look. So this is almost done. Wait, what? That is a bit strange. Like it's deleting way more than it said it would. Something weird is going on. I'm just gonna let it keep going and see what happens. I'm probably gonna put my my system in a bad state. So I'll have to figure out how to clean that up too. Okay, so there we go. And then it's taking 10. I don't get what's going on there. Anyway, while that runs, let's bring this back up. And let's see what's going on with our cache, because this is just really weird. Okay, good. There we go. So I should be able to, oh, where did all this stuff come from? Let's go ahead and delete this node modules. And we'll see what's going on there. But what I want to see is PNPM cache what is it? Cache view. Let's just see what's cache view requires a package name. PNPM cache view. Can I just do star? Apparently I can. Well, let's see what happens. One thing I'm using Volta, which still has issues. Okay. Strange. What I may have to do, So my node modules is gone, which is good. So now that I've deleted a whole bunch of stuff, I may have made things worse. PNPM. Well, the first thing, like Volta list, right? So we can see that we're on node, node -- version. So we're on the right version of node, PNPM -- version. It is at the right version of PNPM. So here, I want to do a PNPM install and do a no frozen lock file so that it can update the lock file. Oh, that's a good thing. So dev full stack dynos. So there we go. We're now showing, and oh, that's how I hide my tabs panel. That's good to know. So now if I do a PNPM install, no frozen lock files, or no frozen lock file, it should be able to update my lock file. It's reusing a bunch of stuff here, and maybe what I need to do is clean up my PNPM cache. I don't know. Like I haven't updated PNPM. I really think that this is like just a Windows issue. But I can't figure out what's going on. At the beginning of the stream, what was happening? Feel like you have more free time. That's an interesting question. Because for me, AI seems to be chewing up a lot more of my free time. But that's because in my position at work, I'm helping out with the governance of AI. And so I spend a lot more time researching AI and researching what people are doing with AI. But like my day-to-day stuff, I don't know, because I use AI to help with like frameworks and things, but I find it produces flat artifacts for me. Meaning that the writing that I get out of it and stuff like that is just strange. I'll let you guys chime in. I'm curious about that too. Do you guys feel like you get more free time with AI or not? One thing I noticed before is like the Cypress stuff wasn't running, so I'm curious if cleaning that up has helped. You fought AI all week. That can be a problem too. A big problem. I really didn't want to do what I'm doing right now today. Hey, look at that. Look at that. So it looks like the stuff that I was worried about. npm approve builds. And we're just going to toggle all of them. We're going to let all of them happen. Yes, I approve. So now if I do like pnpm exec nx version, there we go. So we did clean it up. Man, what a mess. So before we started, all I wanted to do was update Angular. I'm not going to do that now. We already spent enough time, and it's 0.8 to 0.9. Michael shared a couple of interesting things to me that I want to talk about, but I'm hoping that they make it in before we get to the point where I want to talk about it. One of the things I really want to do, and maybe I'll just do like a pop-up stream or something, is just work through all of these upgrades here. Um, but man, what a mess today. One thing I do want to talk about a little bit um, is and maybe now is a good time to fix it, right? Volta is deprecated. So um, Volta Volta node manager. We'll do Node.js, right? Um, so if we go look at the Volta page, and I've been pushing this off for a while, right? This came to my attention back in November, December. But Volta is no longer maintained. And there are some reasons for that. But maybe we need to switch over to Volta or switch over to Mies. V plus. Um, I don't know. Do I really want to kick into this today? That's a good question. I have to go into I don't want to deal with Discord today. Oh, that's just where they're talking about it. So with Mies, is there anything in here? Like NVM, Mies can manage multiple versions of Node on the same system. The following are instructions for using Node Mies core plugin. So there's a mies.toml file that allows us to pin Node and stuff like that. Mies use pin. Okay, so we can pin that. You guys tell me, would you guys like to see, like, would you guys like to see me fixing up some tooling with Mies, or should we dig into anti-gravity and and migrating to SignalForms? I'm divided internally. There's a bit of a struggle going on, and so I don't know which one I want to do. But I would be happy to go either direction. Migrating. Okay. SignalForms. Okay, perfect. No tooling. What I think I might do is this repo needs some TLC. And because of that, what happened to package JSON? Oh, PNPM added. Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's the stuff that allows PNPM to build things. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll get AI to do some stuff. And let's hope that anti-gravity isn't telling us, hey, I'm overloaded this week. But we'll jump into it. One of the things I'm trying to decide if I want to well, let's see what anti-gravity does, and then maybe we help it building a skills file. So last time we upgraded our skills here, let's just say, is it, I forget, is it list skills? By the way, thanks for info Michael is sending to me. Did I tell Michael to send you something? Maybe. Oh, Michael and I were talking last night. I currently have one skill installed. I should have more skills than that. Let's take a look. Because I thought in our agents, wait a second. Did we not install the Angular skills last week? I swear we installed the Angular skills. Something really weird is going on here. ls.agents. What happened to all of our skills? Oh, man. Well, this is definitely not where I saw us today. But thanks to Michael, and his PR. So Michael's PR added this piece about the NPX skills. So we're going to do this. I swear we ran this. I am not sure what's going on. It is so weird. Like, we want the Angular developer skills. I remember doing this because I got so confused because these are additional agents, and we don't need them. Maybe it's because I did a global install last time and symlinks are having a problem. Let's try global again and just see what happens. So there we go. Now if I list the .agents file, nothing. So it copied these all to my home directory, and maybe it wants me to create the, we're going to install them locally. Maybe that's what I did last time. And then we just got distracted. Oh, to the GitHub README, it just copied it from the docs. Okay. So there's the Angular developer piece. Or actually, the docs were there before, right? It was the GitHub repo because we went there first. After looking at the stuff from Brandon Roberts, that's what we did. So we're going to install it into the project. Yes. So now if I look at the agents folder, there we go. Now we've got some skills. So now I should be able to do list all the skills. There we go. Angular developer skills. So now we've got our skills in place. So now we should be able to say that we want, we want to upgrade this project to use SignalForms for all forms. And now let's see what we get. No reactive forms or template-driven forms found? You're kidding, right? So we should get a bunch of stuff here. And this is where I'm very curious. So right now, all we've got is our repo. We've done a bunch of work on the repo to get everything to signals. And once we got everything to signals, we wanted to get to SignalForms. We're using the default Angular skills to see, what this gives us. We're using just Antigravity. We're using Claude Opus. And that's it. So I'm very curious as it explores through this and looks at the skills. It's found the text input component and the text area component and our toggle component. So it's found a bunch of stuff that we're going to have to upgrade. We can see that right here. And so now it's creating an implementation plan, and I'm very curious about this implementation plan. 37.0. Yeah, we should add the skills. So let's go ahead and do that while it works. So we'll stage all these. It'll tell us that, hey, it found skills. So it does have the SignalForms skill. Very curious. When we look at the SignalForms skill, so SignalForms are the recommended approach for handling forms in modern Angular applications version 21 plus. They provide a reactive. So interesting. So even though they're still not released, they're saying they're the recommended way. Critically, you must use Angular's new SignalForms API for all functionality. And it gives, you know, the imports that can be used. Component signal, all of that stuff. One thing maybe we could take a look at while it's still working. Oh, it does have an implementation plan. Perfect. But one thing I did want to take a look at before we did that is ngrx.io. Let's go here. And do we have skills files? And maybe the best way to go about looking for this is we might have to ngrx signal store skills. Or LLM. I don't know, maybe we don't get too distracted. When are forms not going to be experimental anymore? I don't know the date on that yet, Ole. They're pretty good as is. They've been making some changes to it, and I think like Michael just shared with me that Resource just got their PR to be moved out of experimental. So like Resource, RX Resource, and HTTP Resource in the next release will no longer be experimental. Yeah, I think they're trying for 22, but I don't. I mean, there's stuff I've heard, but there's also stuff that I have to be careful talking about, if that makes sense. So we're using template-driven forms. We've got a custom UI wrapper. The custom UI wrapper components need a decision. Yep. Rely on ng control and control value accessor. Yep. Zod validation will be replaced by SignalForms schema validation. The existing Zod validators And with store currently drive error display, SignalForms has its own built-in validation via schema files. Required the Zod parsers will be kept for the backend API layer, but removed from the front end flow. No, we don't want that. So the first thing we want to do, there are two options. Option A, recommended, inline the form fields directly and edit Dino component. Replace the wrapper component with plain HTML using form field bindings. Or option B, modify text input, text area, and toggle component to accept a form field input and bind it internally. This preserves the abstraction layer but adds complexity. So the first thing I can say is let's go with option A for the custom components. And the reason that the custom components were created, if we go take a look at these, so we'll keep this open, but let's take a look at like the let's take a look at the text input, right? So here we'll just bring up like the text input component. And if we look at this component, it's got a label. And then if it's a number, we do certain things. But we're really just using this class, these errors, right? So class error, placeholder, and then if it's text, again, we're just adding the error. And then down below here, we're just adding the error text. Really, that's all this does, is it gave us a wrapper and a nice place to add these errors. We don't really need this anymore. This stuff can now come from, we don't, right? These errors, these inputs that we created are really just here to give us a nice way to add the error text. And I think it's the same with the toggle components. No. So the toggle component doesn't work, and we're using it for a custom toggle. So let's go with option A for custom components, except for the toggle. It is a custom toggle. So it's going to rework things based on that. Hey Tukes, welcome to the stream. In a live stream a few weeks ago, Matthew said that they are working hard on forms becoming more stable. Yep. Not necessarily stable status, but past experimental. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you there, Michael. Also trying Zod in another project, it's good, actually. You put some effort, but from the beginning. But then it's very easy to see if something went wrong. And that's what I like about Zod, right? Oh. No. So it's removing Zod validation. I don't like that we're removing Zod validation. So the text input component, what did it do? It didn't make any changes here. The Dino's error component, we can remove this. We don't need this anymore. So we no longer import the forms module? What's going on here? Um, I think something's breaking here. Edit dyno components. The service crashed 5 times. That's not good. Man, this is crazy. Just the sheer number of things that's going on here. I don't want to run anything with yarn. We'll just accept all of this and we're going to see what it did. We can get rid of all of this no host stuff. So it doesn't like the OpenAI stuff. That's a circular. We'll need to clean that up too. Here. What's going on here? It's just saying that we're using it, but never. Great. So let's take a look at what happened, because I'm not entirely sure what changed. So here we took out the forms module. So the errors component, I don't know that we're going to need this anymore, but we'll leave it for now. The edit dyno component, it took out everything but the toggle component. We've got this weird network error thing going on. Where is that coming from? So we've got a dyno model that it's bringing in. We're going to bring this in from someplace else. And then here, they're using the forms to validate stuff, which is fine. Oh, we added a giant effect. There's a mess here. We're going to stage this and we'll clean this mess up. We're going to stage this with add dyno store. So it's taking out the validation. I'm okay with that. That's perfectly fine. It took out the validation here. I also agree that that's fine. And this is fine too. And the reason it did all of that, this will be interesting because in the past we were injecting different stores to handle the different validation and stuff. Actually, you know what? We want to unstage this, and we want to unstage this because the form is going to validate it, but we also need, and let's go ahead and rewrite this. We still need the validation in the stores, to prevent sending bad data. And we should be validating that on the back end, but for now, we're going to, let's just tell it, we still need the validation in the add dyno and edit dyno stores to prevent bad data being sent to the server. Also replace the Angular validators with Zod validators for the form. So let's see what it does there. And it's trying to use Yarn for a lot of this stuff. So it's not picking up that we use PNPM. It's for whatever reason it thinks we're using Yarn, and I'm not sure why. But we'll clean that up ourselves, right? This is part of the problem. Yeah. After a discussion, I tried both app in React and Angular and decided to go with Angular. I like it way more. That's good to hear. I like Angular more, but I don't want to push somebody new into Angular unless that's the direction they want to go. I would love for everybody to use Angular, but the reality is that there's a lot of React out there. And you know, if somebody's asking me for advice, I have to give good advice. It probably needs to be included in that Zod can be fit directly into the form validation functionality. If it is not in the skill, you're probably right, Michael. I'm curious about that, and that's why I'm very curious about this. We may write our own custom skill. I think Zod schemas are more readable than interfaces, especially with discriminate. I agree with you there also, Ole. And the other thing is that like interfaces, there's nothing in an interface. You know, people will do casting and stuff, expecting it to behave like TypeScript to behave like a strongly typed language. But TypeScript is really written on top of ECMAScript, right? And so your interfaces don't make a lot of, they don't do a lot after compile, right? With Zod and with Zod's discriminated unions, and even TypeScript's discriminated unions, you can do runtime validation of your types, which puts you in a much better place. Oh, awesome. Thank you for making sure that those were good calls. Let me restore Zod validation in the stores as a safety net and use Zod schemas for form validation. I found a couple of type problems because of Zod. Yeah, and that's why I like to introduce Zod. And the latest version of Zod is much smaller than it used to be. It only changed. Oh no, it's still changing fast. Okay, so we're still going. But yeah, I like Zod types, and so our stack at work is Angular on the front end, Nest.js on the back end. And we use NX for our mono repos. The stack I'm talking about is for our experiences. So anything that makes it to the web, basically, it's Angular front end, Nest.js back end. And then beyond that, there's other technologies, right? But that's our main, if we're writing something in Angular, that's our stack. Those are typically in an NX monorepo. So with Zod, Nest can use Zod validators. Angular can, with SignalForms, can use Zod validators. Even without SignalForms, you can use Zod validators. So why not, in your library, where you've got front end and back end, create a Zod library. Have that Zod library validating your back end, but also provide it to your front end to make things nice for the front end. That way the back end is doing what it needs to do, and it's using Zod to do runtime validation. But the front end can make things nice for users and be like, hey, you need to make this look a different way, or hey, you need to provide this, or all of the other. So one thing to recognize here is we use PNPM, not yarn. Let's take a look at what I did with the store. It looks like it just put everything back. Maybe. Yeah. But it's doing, that's interesting. This is fine. Actually, yeah, this is fine. This will be fine. Because we don't need the errors. So I'm good with that change. With edit dyno, again, it's doing the warning. It's bringing in that validation. That's perfectly fine. It looks like we've got something going on here. We'll figure out what's going on there. And then in the edit dyno components, Zod validate schema safe parse any. This is this is a little bit messed up. And we're going to reject this. So we're going to reject that. These two are fine. But the edit dyno component, we're going to need to give, we're going to need to add a skill. So there's circular stuff going on there. That's fine. So we've got this stuff going on. That's fine. So let's go here. That's not where we want to be. Let's go here. And let's stage these two stores. There's some formatting going on here, but that's it. There's not a bunch of other stuff, so we can ignore that. Let's go ahead and commit this. And so we've got this interesting, and let's take a look at the skills file here. Let's go to our agents, Angular developer skills. So inside of here, we've got our SignalForms. So that's creating a form validation. Import validators from Angular SignalForms there. Use them in the schema function passed to form, and it's giving that information. It's giving stuff about minimums. Field state versus form, that's all fine. Disabled, read-only, hidden, that's all fine. Binding. Let's just see if there's anything in here about Zod. No. So we know that the SignalForm skill can't do Zod validation. So let's go to the Angular stuff here. And this is our SignalForms. And our validation here has all of this stuff, but there should be some stuff about Zod, right? So SignalForms have a built-in support for libraries that conform to standard schema like Zod or Valibot. You can pass a signal instead of a static schema. So let's add this. Yeah, Zod is mentioned in the docs. You're right, Michael. We're going to add this as a skill, right? So what we can do is, first of all, we use PNPM, not yarn. It's not going to build, but that's fine. We'll fix that up ourselves. But the other piece here that we want to make sure is we can add how do you add a skill here? This is interesting because add a skill. So I use VS Code at work, and I want to create a skill to augment Angular's SignalForms validation. Let's see what we get here. See, I don't want it. Yeah, this makes sense for clarity. Let me create a skill. Let's see what skill it comes up with, because we'll take the stuff from the docs and bring that in. There's an interesting piece here, right? That the edit dyno component needs to use a different validator based on we're injecting some different things. Where is it might be at a higher level where we pick the add or the Created the Zod signal form skill at this. It documents Zod validate. So Zod signal forms augments Angular signal forms with Zod-based validation used when integrating Zod schemas as validated as so we're going to accept this for now, but we're going to clean this up. Yeah, see, it's trying to create this Zod validate, like it's hallucinating the crap out of stuff here. The skill provides patterns for using Zod schemas as a validation engine inside Angular signal forms. There we go. This is useful when you already have Zod schemas shared with a backend and want to avoid duplicating validation rules with Angular's built-in validations. When to use? You have existing Zod schemas. Yep. You want a single source of truth? Great. You need complex validation logic that Zod handles well. Perfect. You want to validate with standard schema. Awesome. So we need signal forms. We need Zod 4. Read the SignalForms skills first for SignalForms fundamentals. Perfect. Pattern 1. Pattern 2. Pattern 3. Pattern 4. Pattern 5. If using Zod v4, you can... Oh, there we go. So it is picking it up. You know what? This skill is actually not bad. Because it adds this. What I don't want is I just don't want this one. The Zod validate. Let's see how much it adds Zod validate into this skill. So there it is, and then it's using it there. This is pattern 2. And again, it's using Zod validate. We don't want that. So, you know, instead of me cleaning this up, we are only going to use Zod 4 plus, clean up the skill to not have the Zod validate pattern or use it in other patterns. So we're gonna have the AI clean up our skill, and then we'll go in and touch it up a bit. When we look at this, so there's the validate standard schema, and it's using schema path validate standard schema. We'll make sure that things follow this. This is interesting. The dynamic schema is very, very interesting, but I don't really want to introduce that into our skill. Let's put this side by side, and maybe not. No, I didn't want to do that. Why am I doing that? So for using Zod v4 schemas and the validation engine here, the Zod implements standard schema. So we can use the standard schema. So it takes this out already. We need Zod v4 plus, so it cleaned that up. It removed this entire pattern. Pattern 1, field validation with validate standard schema. So here we can see we're bringing in validate standard schema. We've got a Zod object, and here, I mean, it's using this. We can probably clean this up, but I'm okay with it so far. Use dot shape on a Zod object schema to extract individual field schemas, which you can do. Yep. So pattern 2, nullable and optional fields. It's handling that already. Pattern 3, whole model validation. Oh, this is the store. That's fine. The safety net, that's perfectly fine. Combining Zod with built-in validators. So that's fine. We're good there. Yeah, we're going to accept all. That's fine. We're going to come back in and we're going to clean this up just a little bit. So here we've got this object, and if we take a look at the validation, it's just schema path and user schema, right? So we've got the schema path, and then we validate this. So let's bring this in, and let's fix this skill up. So pattern 1, field level validation with validate standard schema, that's fine. Pattern 2, nullable, that's fine. Whole model validation in the store, that's fine. Combining Zod, and that's fine. But pattern 1, let's go here and let's add pattern 1. Pattern 1, and pattern 1 is SignalForms standard schema implementation. And here, I jumped down too far. So here we want, we're gonna copy a lot of this. And we can go here. That is not what I wanted to do. I think I can paste. Yeah. So here, is it control Windows V? No. That's okay. We can grab it later. But what we want to do is here, we want to say SignalForms standard implementation for entire model with valid Sith with validate standard schema. And let's see what we get here. See, it's still trying to do each one here, and we can help out. We've got the schema, so we can grab this. And instead of this, we can just say this. And that's fine. We can tab this and it'll clean all of this up. Here, we just say model. And user schema, where is, so the user schema should be, so it should be user parser, not user schema, but we can actually change that. Actually, no, let's set that back. And here, this can be user parser. So what we've done is we've just added another pattern that can be used. So for the entire model, we can validate it using Zod, and it's got stuff set up here. And that's fine. So here, this now becomes pattern 2. And this becomes pattern 3. And this one becomes pattern 4. Come on. Pattern 4. And you become pattern 5. And there we go. I think I can paste 3-year-old in art class. I'm glad to have Michael here helping me out so that everybody here can understand what I mean when I say that kind of stuff. Keep it up, Michael. It's very important, you know, that. But anyway, we've got our skills in place, right? And if we look, so we've got the form, and then we've got the schema path, and then we validate the schema path here. If we look at this pattern 1, so we've got our parser schema path. We validate using the standard schema, the schema path and the parser, and we should be good to go. That all looks good. So there's one last thing that I like to do whenever I create a skill, because the skill created here was largely created by the AI, right? It helped us write the skill using a bunch of other stuff. We cleaned it up and we guided it. And so this is going to allow us to do more with our skills. But we need to, there's one last thing I always like to do, evaluate the Zod SignalForms skill. We are looking for the following places to improve. 1, wasted tokens. We don't want our skills to use a lot of tokens unnecessarily. To evaluate it for best practices, we want to follow the best practices for both Angular and modern ECMAScript code. 3, inconsistencies with the rest of the skills and code base. And we'll let it do this evaluation for us. And I like to do this because AIs tend to bias towards positivity. So if they're going to bias towards positivity, then what I like to do is take that bias towards positivity and use that to look for things where we can improve. So it identified some stuff. Let's take a look, right? So pattern 1 and pattern 2 have nearly identical full component examples. Same user parser, same component template, same model signal. The only difference is validate standard schema user parser versus that. That's about 50 duplicated lines. Yep. Pattern 4, store safety net includes a signal store feature scaffolding that's generic and not specific to Zod. It's just a standard RX method pattern with safe parse. This could be a 5-line snippet. Perfect. Pattern 5, combining, is a 4-line code snippet that's self-explanatory, doesn't need its own section. So already, right, like the skill it wrote was very verbose. The skill that it's giving back, and it didn't actually make these changes. Want me to rewrite? Yes. We're just going to say yes. Go ahead and rewrite. So while it's busy figuring that out, I like that it figured this stuff out, that we're wasting 50 lines of duplicated code, right? Because that's tokens. And when we think about, this skill could be used multiple times, those 50 duplicated lines come out to be, I don't know, we'll say 500 tokens, right? 500 tokens across 1,000 iterations is now 500. You've used up 500,000 tokens, right? That's significant. That's very significant. We want to be very careful about our token usage. And then best practices. Change detection strategy is missing, protected read-only, importancy from Zod. The code base uses this, and this is important because this import is tree shakeable. This import is not. Pattern 1 description says extracted via shape. Oh, see, it caught that I had copied and pasted, so it caught that. No mention of private fields, which the code base uses. Inconsistencies with Angular developer skill. The Angular developer skill is concise and direct. The Angular developer skill uses a pattern of brief explanation code snippet. Component decorators a template repeatedly. So we applied this. So let's see what we got. So we got Angular plus SignalForms validation, or Zod plus SignalForms validation. I'm good with that. We'll save those tokens. Notice here that it cuts down a whole bunch of stuff. So the prerequisites and all of that. So we're going to accept this also because that cuts things down quite a bit. And now it's just saying a whole model validation, pass the root schema path and the full Zod object schema. So here we go. We've cleaned up the Zod import and then the form and the validation. So we're using a lot less import. It's taking out the shared Zod schema. It's taking out all of the component stuff. And it's only giving us what we need for the skill itself, which removes a whole bunch of ambiguity. So we've got the parser, and then in the component class, protected read-only model. So we set up the model, and then the user form is this. And then we don't need the on submit. And so it's cleaning things up. It's saying use dot shape to extract specific field per field controls, right? We're taking this piece out. Nullable fields, again, it's saying this, and it's giving us examples in the form. So we're not using that anymore. And then it's cutting down on the patterns. Keep Zod safe parse in the store service layer as a guard. Perfect. So it's taking out a whole bunch of stuff and just giving us what we need. And again, it's taking out the entire fifth pattern, which we probably don't need. And it's taking out a bunch of stuff at the bottom. So our skill is much smaller, right? It went from all of those lines, and all of those lines represent extra tokens. So those are all important pieces. It wants to continue. We can reject the build verification. We don't need to verify the build for the skill. So our skill became much smaller, much more focused. I thought I changed this. I'm not using, we're going to use Gemini 3.1, I guess. We're going to go away from Claude. We used up a whole bunch of Claude tokens today. I'm not paying for Claude. I do have Gemini that I pay for. So, we get extra tokens there. But again, this is an important piece that I think we can, as you're developing skills, it's okay to let the AI help you write it. Definitely go in and guide it, right? We want to make sure that we're getting the best skill, but then after you create the skill, make the model go look at the skill critically, and see where you can clean up tokens, and see, we took out probably, I would say, 100 lines maybe of tokens, and we can probably see. I don't know if we committed that skill. Did we commit that skill? No, we didn't. Let's go ahead and add this skill. Let's go ahead and have the AI generate a commit message for us. I'm getting so lazy about commit messages. Like, I was lazy about commit messages before, but if I can hit a button and let the AI do it, I'm going to let the AI do it. But anyway, now we're in a place where we've got this skill. So one thing we can do is, let's go ahead and close this agent, and actually, where is... Well, what we want to do is not close the agent, but we want a new conversation. And the reason we want the new conversation, and the other thing we could even do is we can compact this, right? It doesn't like that. Okay. Maybe it's got it built in on its own, but we want new context. So let's go now and take a look at the edit dyno component. This is so messed up, like this effect. Where it's grabbing the dyno and setting the dyno model. We're gonna clean this up too. But we're gonna do it little by little. Again, iteratively. But let's see if we can get the Zod validation to work. We should replace the Angular, or we should replace the SignalForms validation with our Zod validation and have a mechanism to provide the correct parser for edit versus create. And let's see what we get. So it already picked up our SignalForms skill. It's looking at the dyno component. It's searching for a Z object. I think it probably, if our servers are experienced, oh no. That's a bit annoying. So it's analyzed our SignalForms. It's looking at validate standard schema and all of that stuff. Oh, it's using an is edit mode. No, please don't do that. We'll fix that up. We're gonna use dependency injection. We'll let it finish its piece here, and then yeah, this is interesting. Okay, so we got some interesting stuff going on here. One thing I wish it would do is show these side by side, but that's okay. No, quit trying to run yarn. Why do you keep trying to run yarn? So it's taking out the required min length and validate and using validate standard schema and apply when. Interesting. I'm curious about the apply when. So it's pulling in dyno store, dyno parser, and update dyno parser. So we're going to take that. So all of this stuff here becomes an apply when. So when you're in edit mode, use the update. When you're not in edit mode, use the dyno parser. Fascinating. So we're using apply when. I actually don't hate it. This made some significant changes. This effect I still hate. The other thing that it quickly picked up on is we disable the dyno, the genus, and the species when we're not in edit mode. So this is going to work just fine. It's a fascinating way of doing it. So when we're not in edit mode, did we add the edit mode? We'll take a look later. This error is that we've got a circular dependency. We're going to clean that up also. And this warning, oh. What the heck? I don't think I added this code. Where did that come from? Because that's some weird code. I don't really care about. So this is all good. This is all good. This looks fine. Um, we're getting some interesting stuff here. I'm curious what happens. We're about to the point where we're going to start building with the form and just see what we get. We're probably going to have to clean up a bunch of stuff. This .detailstore.network error. Um, I don't get, what are we using the network error for? Like, that's weird. I'm going to take this out and see what breaks. I don't think anything's going to break. Something in if network error. Oh. I don't think we need. So if we take a look at what I took out, it's the details store .network error. I don't think we need that. We can just as easily come up here and just say details store .network error. Yeah. We don't need a whole computed for that, which also means that we can take out this computed because it's no longer needed. Which is fine. And this is the kind of stuff, and you know, Ole, you were asking at the beginning, like, does AI speed you up? This probably sped me up, right? Like quite a bit. The amount of work that would have gone into doing this is not insignificant. It probably would have been a few streams, right? Like a day or two's worth of work. If we do a 2-hour stream where all we do is code, that winds up being like 2 or 3 months of streaming, right? So that's important to recognize. But you also like, this is crazy. Okay, that's totally crazy, and we're going to clean that up. So the signal store, right? Because we don't have the update stuff in, and we're binding directly to. We need to clean this up because here we're using form field. Yeah, and now you're spending time on code review thinking about tokens and skills, etc. Exactly, Ole. And like, I'm able to think higher level, and I'm not thinking so low into the code. Did we change that? This is where it becomes a little bit crazy because, so you spend a lot more time doing code reviews. You're 100% Ole there. Like this network error was just completely stupid. You know, we wrote a skill so that we could get this instead of all of this. This stuff is good. This came across. This is stupid. Right. We'll fix that up. And so we need to handle what happens when the signal changes. And this is something that that Michael was sharing with me. And maybe we can bring that up. So let's go look at my LinkedIn. You did it. Oh, that's really cool. So Michael has added a page just recently sharing people in the community who are that's very cool. Very cool. So he just added a page that's showing people in the community who are sharing the NGRX toolkit. But this is the one. Yeah. This is the one that we want to talk about because I think Michael might have been sharing this with you, Ole. But let me put this in chat for you guys also. Also, Wiseman Z. Well, the code seems correct if you need to sync, store, and form model without using more complex. Yeah, exactly, Wiseman. It's not that the code's wrong. It's just not the way that I would do it. And there's this new conditional reset. And is this the one, Michael, that we were talking about? So there's this projected signal. So this conditional reset allows you to do stuff with your form, but there's a cool piece in here that Michael shared with me. And it's this projected signal, and I just lost it. Where did that go? It's here in the so there's this query schema piece. Yeah. So there's this query schema piece, and this query schema piece allows you to read through the schema itself. But where was the projected signal? So this projected signal, right? The projected signal is what connects the form state to the store. It takes care of projecting the store state into the form, the computation, and updating the store on the form change. So what projected signal does is you can create this projected, right? And you know what, go away. I just need to uninstall that, let's be honest. I've just been really lazy with this machine. But the projected signal gives you a way to display the value and then update the value. And then the form model can use a projected, right? And we could use projected signals in our stuff. This is probably the right way to do it. And let's go find so if we go take a look at here, and let's can I just F12 this? No, I can't. Where is, let's go up and up. Am I on the wrong branch? Let's go back to it. Because what I want to do is just copy this projected signal in. Yeah, delegated signal. Yep, the delegated and the projected signal. I wanted to copy this code over. Copy it from the NGRX PR. Did you send me that link, Michael? Let me see if I've got it. I think you did. Here it is. You did send that to me. So for all of you in chat, oh, and Michael just pasted it, so never mind. I don't need to paste that for you guys. Let's add this here. But this is the delegated signal from the PR, and we'll just copy this function for now until we get it in NGRX. So this is the delegated signal itself right here. And we're going to use it. So the delegated signal takes a source, has an update value, and an equality comparator, right? So let's go ahead and actually, let's go. Can I not just? I should just grab, yeah. So we're going to add this to our repo. Let's see where it makes sense to add it. So within the UI, we've got a lib, we've got components. Probably makes sense to be in the helpers. So we'll just add a new file here. We'll call this our delegated signal. Signal.ts. We're going to paste this in. And we're going to add a comment here that just says copied from the Angular with permission. No, we didn't ask permission. Who asks permission? And we're going to grab this link. And we're going to say remove when native delegated signal. Perfect. Right. So we just added this. What's the problem here? Value is defined but never used. Well, that's stupid. That's a stupid error. So we've imported our delegated signal. And so now we can fix up some stuff here too. I got distracted by this, but let's fix this up, right? So when we use our delegated signal, we're going to be bringing it across from well, if we go take a look at the example, right, so that we can walk through this. So in our form, we can pass in an object, and this object can have projected, right? Like the example here, Michael's creating a projected signal that's pulling things from a store and updating a store. We can do something similar. So here, our dyno model is no longer this signal. Instead, it becomes this. And here we can say this is a delegated signal and import that. And here our delegated signal has a source, right? And our source is this. So we've got a bit of boilerplate here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Go ahead and close this. We can go ahead and save this. But this should. Did we fix this properly? So dyno name. And maybe we need a signal here still. Does that work? So up here, it comes from an index signature. What is the shape of my dyno model here? Why is my hover not working? Let's go ahead and just restart Antigravity and see what's going on. And this is where we're into new territory, right? Writable signal, dyno name, delegated signal. Cannot find delegated signal. We'll bring that in. Does not exist on type update. Yep, you're right. So our detail store here has a dyno store, and dyno store, this actually doesn't work. Our detail store dot do we not have anything on the detail store? Dinosaur edit mode. Let's pull open our detail store here. Our store. So our Dino store is either an edit store type or an add store type. And that comes from our edit Dino state, and with edit Dino, I think is the piece we want here, right? With edit Dino has this, with computed has this, with methods, we get what methods do we have? We've got set ID, save. So we don't really have an update method on this. So we've got our computeds here and our methods. So it's trying to add an update method, right? Update. If we go back, right? So it's trying to provide this update method, and that doesn't exist on type Dino store, which is true. So my details store has this with call state, with edit state, or with edit Dino. So with edit Dino could have an update. And that's fine. So here we can say this is a partial. Boom. And then we're going to patch the state with the dinosaur, but that doesn't work because the state has a dinosaur value. So we patch the state with the ID because the state has an ID. Because we're using a resource here, when we patch the state, when we do a save, our save method is validating the dyno, then it's tapping that, it's setting the loading. Wait, what? We don't have to do this actually. My update method doesn't work right now. We're gonna have to find another place to do this. But the reality is, this works fine. We actually don't need the delegated signal here. And I don't even think we need this. I think we can just go empty. I think this is just an empty add dyno, right? And then we can make this a signal here to make sure that that all works out. And then we bring in the dyno model. We've got some interesting so here we could just do this dot dyno model dot edit mode. And that brings in an empty edit dyno and an empty add dyno. It's used before its initialization. Ugh. Dyno name just becomes an empty. This is weird. I mean, this works because there's a mess here. There is a mess here. So detail store actually we can the problem was I was trying to use a model. Should be this dot detail store that. And that will work. And that will work. But now we've got a problem. Because now this dyno model is an edit state or an add state. An edit mode. So schema path here. Why doesn't it like this? Yeah. So edit is missing the following from type has feathers. Wait, update dyno parser and schema path. It shouldn't be missing has feathers, right? Because edit dyno state, like if we look at this, edit dyno state, oh. I just want create empty dyno. That's all I want. I don't even need all of this. It's not great. Create empty dyno. There we go. That cleans all that up. And so, did you make it on time? Just barely. There's like 5 minutes left. You alternate, man. Passed our firewall on time. Oh, Michael's firewalling you out again. Anyway. So we've got some issues with the empty dyno. And the description is not assignable to type string, of course. Of course. So create empty dyno returns a dinosaur, but we can have an create empty base dyno. Oh, this is so base dinosaur, like dino name is provided, genus species has feathers, description, but ID is not provided, right? But we aren't using ID. The description is provided. And then here, we've got height in meters and weight in kilos and trivia provided. But if we look at the, no, those are required. So really it's description, image URL, and description and image URL, right? That's where we've got our problems. If we look, we can, interesting, it's not picking up the prettier, but these don't need to be here. I wish it would just clean it up with my prettier stuff. Maybe a prettier broken, but so description here is a problem. Image URL is a problem, but we can fix that, right? So our empty dyno needs to include the image URL. We don't need the undefined here. But it's still going to infer that description and image URL can be undefined. And that's because dinosaur description can be null-ish. What happens if I take that off? And also, image URL, and it doesn't like that, but we'll, what did I do here? Oh, so those can no longer be null-ish, which fixes this up. That's actually a better way to do this. So that's all fixed up. This effect, the reason we're having to use this effect, couldn't Dino model now just be, I mean, do I have to do all of this? Could I not just set it to Dino? Like, I don't need all of that, so that makes that boilerplate a bit better. Is this going to, yeah, so Prettier's working. And this effect is there because this effect is here because yeah, we don't need that comment. But the reason that that effect is there is because we changed over to I don't understand this either. Like clear errors. Okay. So I guess I had that in there. But I don't know that I need this anymore because why would I need that? The errors aren't being projected to the form. And so the last issue we've got is well, for now, we'll put that back. Why does it need this cast? I don't know. Did I write this code? Like, what's the history on this line number? We can look it up here. So for right now, we can delete this file. We're not using the, well, we'll leave it for now. That's fine. We made that change and we made this change, but I'm really like, this came from somewhere. We've cleaned up a whole bunch. I'm curious about this file itself. Let's look at the history. Fixed a bunch of bugs caused by resource. So this, interesting. So why would this be? And this error was just weird. This was definitely added by the AI. Reset network error state if store supports it. Like, what the hell, man? What does that mean? Let's go fix this. So this used to just read this dot detail store dot clear That's weird. How did the clear errors get removed? So with edit dyno, no, it was on the errors itself. It was, so with edit dyno, with resource, with computed, with method. Oh, we don't have errors anymore. We removed the errors, right? So like if we go take a look at with, yeah, with dyno errors store, this is what added the clear errors. But we don't use this anymore. If we look at this and we find all references, there's no more references to this file. And so we don't even need this cancel. For right now, we're just going to log console.log cancel, right? If I look at the with dyno's edit store, clear errors just, all it does is patch the state with no errors. Does this even compile? Why not linked signal? What were you talking about for a linked signal? Are you talking about the errors, maybe? It would eventually be delegated signal, but this is upgraded by AI with project, so it's got to get with the pitch. Oh, you're talking about here instead of the effect. Yeah, this effect is here because when we take a look at the detail store, with edit dyno and with add dyno, are using resources. Actually, they're not. So it's just the with edit dyno. The with edit dyno is using a resource. And we could patch this resource to set the dyno, which would allow us to use the delegated signal, which is something I think we're going to have to do. But yeah, Michael's right. Yeah, the effect is to set the model, which I don't like this. So one thing we're going to do is to do just bind to the signal store. We need to fix the resource for the edit dyno so we don't have to do this and can just use a man, my brain is drawing a blank right now. The delegated signal, and can just use a delegated signal from the store. If we do that, then like this is interesting, right? So the reason we need this effect is it allows us to set a model that we're using, and that model is what's collecting the data and allowing us to do the validation and all, right? This dyno model here. The effect sets that dyno to the dyno model. It's not great, but it is what it is, right? The other thing is that if the dinosaur, this is an interesting, yeah. This is an ugly hack. If the dinosaur were to change, maybe the network read took a while or whatever, the dinosaur may not come back right? And so right now the save, we're saving the model, and it's a hack that we've had in place because of other stuff. We need to fix this hack. But right now I'm curious, do we even compile? Like, do you even compile, bro? So let's just pnpm exec nx serve Angular dynos. Or let's just build Angular dynos, right? Build Angular dynos. And let's see what errors we get. With a delegated signal, the dyno model would be the delegated signal. That's true. It would. You're right. So we've got some issues because I made some changes. So our Dynos CRUD service has a problem. Our Dynos CRUD service has a couple of problems, and they're largely related to so our with edit dyno store has an issue here, and so let's go take a look at our Dynos CRUD service really quick. Oh, I need to end, but Dyno's CRUD service. So this dyno, we're converting this to a dinosaur. And this is going to return a dinosaur. So what is our issue here? Image URL and description can be null or undefined, right? Is that the issue? Argument of type this cannot be converted to type that. Properties of type description are incompatible. So if we go take a look here, so we get a name, we get a trivia, and we get Dino. This is of type DB Dino. Where did Dino come from? We're splitting it. So the rest is coming in as Dino. But type DB Dino has Dino name, genus, species, description. So DB Dino, we need to fix this. It also can't have description. And it can't have image URL. And then we re-add those, which should fix up this. Oh, it's not undefined. It's only, so description can't be undefined. It can only be string or null. Right. So now, string null or undefined is not assignable to type string or null. The type, okay. So you have to be undefined. Boom. And then here we can return, oh, we need to parse out description. And no, that does not go to undefined. That goes to that. And that goes to that. So that should fix up. So this one now has an issue. Property description is optional in type this. Oh, but we're saying it's not optional. That's easy to fix and easy to fix. So that fixes up all of those, but it breaks this. So dynos. Argument of type this is not assignable to this. A value are incompatible. Is not assignable to type omit this. Types of description are incompatible. Is not assignable to type string. Convert GraphQL dyno to base dyno. And it really does come down to, oh, no, we made this change here, right? Name, description, that. Oh, but we didn't. I think here we also need description. But we don't want trivia here. Yeah, so here, yeah. Does not exist on DB base dyno. So we can take out the image URL because it's not needed. String or null or undefined is not assignable to type string. And that is because we didn't update the base dyno. So here we also need to fix description. And here, yeah, that was what we were missing. There were a couple of pieces that we were missing, but that fixes that issue. And it all comes down to the fact that we remove the ability to be null or undefined, which makes our code better. We're getting back to 4-hour streams. Oh man, this is getting to be a long stream, isn't it? But yeah, one thing about undefined is that form models cannot really handle them. So you may want a more explicit domain model versus form model, like the docs mentioned. And you're probably right. You're probably right. What we should do is create that domain model. I think you're right. There's been a bunch of hacking going on here that's been a problem. And we should fix that up. But let's see if we can at least build this. If it builds, the next week we'll come back and see what happens, right? Boom. So we've got one problem left. So it's this save from here. So in the with edit dyno store, with edit dyno store, we've got some issues. Hey, shh, shh, shh. Indy, hey, come here. Indy, she's not happy, you guys. Oh, yeah, she's not happy because our neighbor kid who torments her is outside doing silly stuff. So the OpenAI dyno is probably allowing this OpenAI dyno has feathers description. It's not so our dinosaur. Wait, why is that this way? So we got our dyno name, length in meters. Like, if we look at this, right, so we're pulling out the dyno name, we're pulling out the genus, the species, and the length in meters, and we're grabbing that from here, and we're grabbing this OpenAI dyno. And OpenAI dyno now has height in meters, weight in kilo, trivia, but why? Because the dinosaur itself shows that the image URL should be a string. What is going on here? So the dinosaur. Oh, come on, little one. Because we grab the OpenAI dyno here. Our dinosaur shows that it has the image URL, which means it should show up on here. Because we're pulling out the dyno name, we're pulling out the genus, the species, and the, what are we pulling out here? Length in meters. Dyno name, genus, species. I don't even see length in meters. Oh, we're using an omit on this. Where's the omit coming from? Hey, no more, please. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. You're gonna be big and tough. Come say hi. Yep, this is our guard dog. She's being all tough. So we are omitting length in meters from this. Or image URL. omitting it here. Trying to figure out where that's coming from. So this state, man. So that's the save. Set edit mode. So here, save OpenAI. So this dyno's pipe. So we're sending that, we're patching the state. Dyno is the OpenAI object, which is an OpenAI dyno. And this is that. So we're update dyno is returning an observable. So this dinosaur here. Okay. So it's this service here. And it's this OpenAI dyno. And OpenAI dyno has the image URL omitted. What if I don't omit that? Because that's broken anyway. That fixes that save. That's all good there. So this, so the OpenAI object, what is that? Oh, I need to take that out. There we go. So that fixes that. These are just never used, so that's fine. This is a circular reference, not fine, but stuff we can clean up. So we're good here, and we can actually even put like underscores in front of these so that they are okay, and that error goes away. And then here we can also do this, do an underscore, and this, and do an underscore. So that fixes up that error, so it kind of goes away. We're doing a non-null assertion here, but that's okay. The other one's a circular error. If this compiles, then I think we will see you guys next week. If it doesn't compile. Yeah, she's a cutie. She thinks she's tough. Yeah, in my opinion, that signal form doc on domain versus form conversion will be the most important doc for signal forms. It's great for model reactive forms too. We should review that doc. It looks like everything built, so we're good there. I agree with you there. It would be nice to see more docs like that for everything else, not only for forms. Totally agree with you there. Let's talk about that doc once we get this working, because I agree with you. I really think we should be using the delegated model. That would be, or delegated property, or delegated signal. That's what I'm looking for. We really should be using the delegated signal. So we'll take a look at doing a delegated signal. I think the delegated signal should live with where it is, if that makes sense. So we'll take a look at that too. to do a delegated signal, we need a way to update the signal itself, which means we're going to have to fix our resource. So there's a bunch there. We're going to test this next time. We haven't tested it, but everything's building. Our chunks are, I mean, we're serving 530K, 560K. That's crazy. I'm really curious what's in this chunk that's so big. The CSS, I don't know that we can clean up, and the rest of these chunks are pretty small. It'd be nice to get this chunk much smaller, but I'm not that concerned right now. It would be nice to clean all of that up, but as it stands, I think we're in a good place. We haven't tested, but that's okay. We can test next time. And you know what? Let's just stop being lazy, dude. So I need to get Docker desktop running. And then here, I need a new tab. Just grab a new terminal. Let's get Postgres running. We're good there. We've got this terminal running, so now we can pnpm exec nx serve Dynos API. That should serve just fine. We didn't make any changes there. So our debuggers, oh no. Oh no. Crap. Cannot find module Prisma client index. So we've got issues. Well, okay. We're gonna have to figure out what's going on with Prisma. What we'll probably do is we'll probably have to just do a couple of streams to just get this namespace all cleaned up. I need to upgrade Prisma. I need to upgrade everything else. Things are in a broken state right now. We'll get that fixed up. I mean, we can do can serve an Angular dynos. So that works. We're up on here. Is that it? Nope. That one's it. I need to just make like a little dinosaur icon. We can see that we don't have any stuff there, but if we take a look at this, if I try and save this, it won't let me save. Add a dino. Test, test, test. The save button is disabled. I'm really curious about Okay. So we've got some issues here, and if I cancel, it goes back. Oh, like here, we should be displaying information about the dinosaur itself. Oh, we're getting the errors above. Do you see that? Name must be at least 3 characters long. Genus must be at least 3 characters long. So if I go test, well, that's really weird. My description, test, 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 invalid input. So test here. Yeah, so the form itself is a bit messed up, but we can see that the signal form is working. And when we go to save it, yeah, we're getting an HTTP error. That's fine. Interesting. Very interesting. So it does work. That's good to know. So we know it works. We've got to fix up Prisma. I don't know what that's going to take. I'll actually, I don't go into the office this week, so one of these days after work, I'll probably just pop up a stream for a few hours and see if we can fix and upgrade all of this stuff. It might take 2 or 3 streams. So you guys might get some bonus streams on top of a 3-hour stream today. But watch. I'll put something up on LinkedIn and Twitter before I go live, just so you guys know if you're interested. I want to get this fixed up because I want to take advantage and maybe, well, not even maybe, I need to get back to streaming more because there's stuff that is good to do during the week. And then there's stuff that's good to do on Sundays when there's more people here. And so we'll get better at streaming more stuff and cleaning more stuff up. Because obviously we need it. Yeah, let's get this committed. Let's just make sure. So, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here. So go ahead and commit this. We're going to commit delegated signal, even though I hope that next week we can get into the delegated signal. So we took out the nullish stuff. And then we fixed up a bunch of this stuff, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and commit all of this because everything is working. But we'll get the application 100% working this week so that we've got it and we can demo it next Sunday. But yeah, I'll get this stuff all up there. I'm just a little bit annoyed at Windows that it decided to break everything today. But you guys have a good week. We'll be back this week with a couple of streams. Because I do want to make sure that we just get everything up to date and all of this stuff that's broken, I'm just going to fix it. And that way we can focus on things like delegated signals and like how do we properly use a resource. We're going to go over that doc that Michael and Ole are talking about and talk about what does it mean to have like a form model versus a state model and things like that. And yeah, you guys have a great rest of your week too. We'll see you this week. I'm not sure what days I'm going to stream yet. I'm not. My weekdays are a little bit crazy with work, And especially right now, like I have meetings popping up all the time. But I'll at least give you guys an hour before I go live. So just watch for that. And we'll talk to you all later.